Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting oil painting video. I am your humble host, John, and I'm sorry I missed last week. With the holidays and crazy before the holidays at work and everything else, I ran out of time. So I do apologize. Today is Sunday. What is today? 22nd, right? So the 23rd, 20th? Yeah, today's the 20th. Wow, 22nd of December already. So anyways, I want to make it up to you. I am going to do another 16 by 20 here. We got our Viridian and Payne's Gray. A little bit of Alizarin Crimson. Low horizon line today. As per usual, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Just gonna kind of play by ear. One day, I may start doing winter scenes. But I don't like being cold. When I do a winter scene, I sometimes get cold. I don't like that. So, I'm just going to do it like this. Hope everybody is having a great holiday season. My wife and I, after I make this video, I got to edit it. And I'm going to edit it while we're watching A Christmas Carol. I got like 8,000 versions of them, and there's a bunch of nice ones. My favorite version is the George C. Scott one. That's what we're doing tonight. She got to pick hers last time we had Christmas movie night, so I get to pick this too. It's George C. Scott, Christmas Carol. That's my favorite one. And the one with who the hell is it? Bill Murray, Scrooged. That's a good one. My mom and dad like Alistair Sim, the old black and white. So some of you old guys that are 65 plus that watch my videos, you probably like my mom and dad. Old people watching Alistair Sim, and who's that other one? Reginald Owen. He was even before him, I think. So that's what I grew up watching. Mom and Pop always loved Christmas Carol. There is a movie that I found a couple of years ago that I really like, and it's called The Man Who Invented Christmas. And it's about Charles Dickens when he actually wrote A Christmas Carol. And, you know, all the bullshit he went through to get a publisher last minute and all this other stuff. It was actually kind of cool. So that's a staple of Christmas for my wife and I. We always watch that at least once. So we enjoy it a lot. Okay, so back to the painting. This is nothing different than you normally do. And one of the things I want to try and get installed into your head, if you want to do this professionally or just as a hobby, whatever the case may be, don't take yourself or your art too seriously too quickly. Okay? And what I mean by that is, yeah, you're going to try your best, of course. Yeah, you want it to look good, of course. But you don't want to lose your mind and be so worried about what it looks like that you forget what you're learning and what you're doing. Okay? I'm just putting in a little hill here. Why? I don't know. I didn't want to bring the tree line any further on, so I'm just going to put a little hill here. I ran out of Velcro, so I couldn't Velcro this to that board like I have been doing. So if it falls all over the place, I apologize. I'm going to apologize in advance because I do have klutzy tendencies here and there, and I'm sure that'll come out. But getting back to my rant and my lecture, don't worry about what it's going to look like. It doesn't matter. You're learning. Okay, once you've been doing this for years, then you can worry about what it looks like. Until then, the hell with it. Have fun with it, okay? Just enjoy it. If, like I keep telling people, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Look at this. Look at all these trees right in the mountain. Look at that. That looks like trees, doesn't it? Okay. How about some more? What do you think? I always like the background stuff. Background stuff gives it depth. Look, I got a little bit more, because I put brown in here, burnt umber. I got more burnt umber in the green. So look at that green compared to that green. Now you got a variation. Now you got people looking at this thing going, oh, wait a minute, that's got some stuff going on. That's what I mean. Have fun with it. Don't worry about what it's going to look like. After you've been doing it a while, after you got 50 paintings under your belt, okay, then you start caring. Now, obviously, you don't want it to look, like it's absolutely disgusting, but don't dwell on, oh, this has to be perfect, this has to, no, don't do all that shit. Just have fun. Painting is supposed to be fun. Playing a musical instrument is supposed to be having fun. Playing sports is supposed to be fun. Building puzzles, building model airplanes, all that stuff's supposed to be fun. Don't put any more stress on yourself than you have to. Now, I'm going to do something that, or not do something that I normally do. Remember how I always tapped in foliage and stuff? I ain't doing that for this. I'm leaving all that the way it is. You know why? I like it. It's different. I am going to scope out where my water's going to be here. Straight edge of this. But I'm not going to tap into the foliage like I've been doing. Why? No idea. Don't feel like it. My canvas, my rules. And that's the attitude you got to have. Your canvas, your rules. Nobody tells you what to do on your canvas. There we go. Okay. Now, let's get a little French ultramarine. A little bit of Alizarin Crimson. Same thing. Put a little, whatever color I was using, a little bit of Payne's gray, a little bit more Alizarin. I'm just scrubbing this in. You can hear how hard I'm scrubbing it in. How about some raw sienna? How about that? Ooh, purple. I forgot I put a little purple out this time. How do I forget purple? Okay, does that look like crap enough for you? Well, ladies and gentlemen, well, very few ladies and mostly gentlemen. Wait till I hit it with white. And then once I hit it with white, the magic appears. The magic of the holiday season. It will be evident in the painting before you. As narrated by my wife's crazy parrot, Raphael, who just cannot help but say hello. There you go. If you don't say hello back, I'll never hear the end of it. There we go. Look at that sky. And right now I'm just hitting white only. Now, once I get this, then I'm going to go into the trees like I normally do. But in the meantime, I'm just getting the white. Once I get into the trees, then it's going to have a little bit of green to it. There we go. There we go. Okay, now we go down. You remember this from all of our paintings, right? Just go down. There we go. I'm going to reestablish all this anyway. Once I blend it out, so it's not going to matter. Okay, now you heard that pretty hard, right? There we go. I'm going to wipe off the brush just to get all the thick paint off. Don't need to clean it. Just get all the thick stuff off. Okay, now I'm going to blend the hell out of all this stuff. Get a nice, really soft, whatever the hell color sky this is. And I'm going to be having a lot less pressure than I did. I'm not going to look for stuff. Mainly colors. Stuff that's appealing. Stuff that I'm thinking, oh wow, that's kind of cool. Okay, I need a little bit more Alizarin Crimson in here. There we go. And I want a little bit more purple. I like that purple in there. There we go. Okay, so wipe the brush off again. Now, the thing of it is, I hope you can understand or see from the way I'm doing this. I'm over exaggerating, you know, just like this and everything else. I'm over exaggerating a little bit, trying to just make a point. The point is, especially because it's oil paints and it doesn't dry just by looking at it, and it's not watercolors that's completely transparent that it's tough to handle a mistake. Oil painting is very forgiving, the oil paint itself, because of the nature of the paint. And it's not only very forgiving, it's also the most beautiful colors and everything else, which is why so many people are drawn to it. Not only to paint with it, but to view oil paintings. And so many people I talk to at shows and online and everywhere else, they're reluctant to try oil because it's so complicated, it's so this, that, and the other thing. That's just a bunch of baloney. It's not. And one of the things I'm trying to do by over-exaggerating is show you that it's not complicated. It's easy to do. If you want to do it, you can have fun with it, and you're going to stick to it. And it doesn't matter at that point if it's watercolors, acrylics, pastels, whatever. If you're not going to stick to it and have fun with it, it's not going to work. Oil painting isn't this deep, dark secret that you have to be a descendant of Leonardo da Vinci to be able to get it to look good. You don't have to do that at all. You just have to be persistent. Now, I got a lot of purple in here that I like, so I'm going to put this up here. And look, I mean, do I look like I'm doing this thing in a technical way? No, I'm not, because I'm not a technical person. I don't know if I told you the story. I took architectural rendering in college. And I did that thinking, okay, trying to be a fine artist is going to take a while to build up any kind of clientele and everything else and start, doing anything. I'll earn a living doing architectural rendering, which is profession in demand. What am I doing here? I don't know. So I took it. Real good school, same school I've been going to. Real good instructor. Great reputation. Nice guy. I enjoyed, his class as far as his lecture and stuff. I went to do it. I damn near melted my brain. Okay? You had to be precise with the way you printed different things. And you had to be precise on this corner. And you had to be precise. You had to be precise on every damn thing. I made 3 weeks before I dropped the class. And I told the guy, I told him, I don't even remember his name, but he was a nice guy. I said, listen, I got to drop. I am not wired for this. And he understood. And he said the same thing that a lot of people did. Not everybody is. But I don't have precision in my nature. I really don't. As you can tell by the way I paint this way because it works for me and the way I'm wired. And I hope it works for other people. But when I try to get too technical, when I try to do this, that, and the other thing, it doesn't work. So when I'm loose, when I'm having fun, when I'm listening to Jimmy Buffett, when I'm doing a video talking to you and just listening to myself go off in rants, that is when I create my best art, because that is when I'm having the most fun. And it is that simple. When you learn to let go and have fun, the true art comes out of you. I never realized that until a couple of old-time artists told me that, and I was reluctant with that as well. Because like everybody else, I have all the answers. Now that I'm rapidly approaching 59 years old, I've figured out all those answers I thought I had, or I believed I had. Ha! If I'm lucky, I knew 5% of what I thought I knew, if I'm lucky. But I'm to the age now where I don't have a problem admitting it. When I was younger, I'd never admit it. Now, don't give a shit. I do my best, go from there. And what other people think doesn't really make a damn bit of difference. And that's one of the reasons why painting works so well with me too, because a lot of people have opinions about art. Some are valid, some are not. Some are based in fact, some are based in taste. Neither is wrong, because art is so subjective. But when you're going to put your art out there, you got to have a thick skin to a degree. There's going to be a certain amount of people that love it and a certain amount of people that absolutely hate it. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, I personally cannot stand the Mona Lisa. I think it's one of the ugliest paintings I've ever seen in my life. Now, I know it has historical significance and value and everything else, and it's a scarcity, and one of the all-time great geniuses ever on this planet created her. I get it. But just the art itself, the aesthetics of it, I don't like it at all. I like a lot of Thomas Kincaid stuff, but I can't paint it because he was a lot more in the precise arena than I am. You know, he does those little cottages and stuff, and I have no chance of doing that. I'm going to go with a fan brush for some of these here, feather out a little bit. Now, the reason I'm changing my brush is the big brush I was using isn't giving me the look I want. So when I get to the point where I don't get the look I want, I always go a little smaller on the brush. A little smaller, a little lighter, and then that usually takes it out. So this part right here, a little too thick a paint that I put on initially. So with the big brush, it kept getting in the way. So get the smaller brush, get a little bit more precision, even though I told you I'm not into precision, but it's just, in this case, it's making the brush marks go away better. I don't want brush marks here like I do in other places. And those clouds I can deal with already. There we go. Usually don't wash this quick, but I'm gonna need this for something else, so I'm gonna wash those. Okay, next thing I'm gonna do, put back the trees that I messed up. There we go. A little bit more Viridian here. A little darker. A little bit more Viridian, a little bit more Payne's gray. There we go. There we go. Okay. I can live with that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, I've got a lot of green, so I'm going to make a lot of this water green and Payne's gray and whatever else. I'm not going to put a lot of blue in here. I'm going to put some that's not going to be predominantly blue. It's going to be a lot more green leaning. Even though right now you've seen the last two things I do is blue. That's okay. Now I'm going back to the green. Scrub it in. Now, you see me do this with the sky and everything else. Well, not everything else, but other stuff. So, why am I doing that? Okay. Let me get this up here. I don't care about thickness and paint in my water right here at that moment, like I didn't at the sky. Right now, I don't have anything opaque in here, meaning I don't have my white. So I'm just laying in color. And I'm scrubbing it in to make it thin. So when I put the white on it, okay, it's not going to be really bulky. Okay. You know I like thick oil paint color, but I don't like the thick color too soon. Okay. And right now this would be too soon. And I don't like thick in my water or in my sky. I like thick in my foliage. I like thick in my mountains. I like thick in my land and pastures and stuff like that. But my sky and my water, for me now, my own personal preference, I don't like thick. Okay, so I've got all my colors scrubbed in. You see I got blue, green. There's, so this is French Ultramarine, Viridian, a hair of Alizarin Crimson, a hair of raw Umber, and Payne's gray. That's the water. If you don't like it, deal with it. Because that's a lot of color. And now, I'm just going to back and forth. Just make a little bit of, keep it flat to a degree. There's going to be waviness and all that other stuff in here, but for the most part, it can be flat. There we go. Doggone it. There we go. Okay, so now that I got that done, I don't even have to wipe the brush off because I've just been using the same paint. I'm going to go with the white now. And then after I'm done with the white, which I'm putting on very thin, and you know I'm putting it on thin because you can see the color underneath. There we go. And then I'll reintroduce the green and the blue on top of it. But the big thing I'm doing now is I want to get the opaque in. I don't want to have any of the fabric of the canvas, since I'm using an actual stretch canvas. I think this is the last stretch canvas I have. I didn't find any more when I did my fall cleaning in my studio. So from here on out, we're probably going to be using the ampersand gesso board in various sizes. It won't just be 16 by 20. So we'll be using in various sizes for the rest of our videos. Speaking of the rest of our videos, there's something I've been toying with in my head that I'm going to start after the first of the year, so in a couple more weeks. I'm going to go to 2 videos a week. I'm going to keep my Sunday paint along video that I'm doing now, and then I'm thinking on Wednesdays I'm going to do like an art talk video where it's going to be a lot less time. It won't be about an hour or so. Probably be about anywhere from 10 to 25 or 30 minutes. And it's going to be about different topics that people want to know about, whether it's different types of supplies, different techniques, different artists. So I'm coming up with a bunch of ideas. If you have anything you want to know about or want me to talk about or whatever, let me know in the comments below. And that's when I'm going to start, probably the first week of January, the first week of the new year. And then I'm going to see if, people like a breakup from just doing the videos of showing me paint. There's a lot of videos out there, a lot of creators that do that. They'll do the demonstrations and they'll do other stuff. So I'm thinking maybe the people that have subscribed to me might want to see that. So if you do, great, let me know. If you don't, let me know. This channel is something I want you guys to enjoy, regardless of, who you are. All men, all women, combination. People from the U.S., from Portugal, Spain, from Pluto. If I want you to enjoy the videos and learn something and possibly be entertained. I don't know. I love watching people paint, so that entertains me. So it may entertain you. But if you come up with any ideas that you want me to do with it, let me know, and I will be more than happy to include them. The first one I'm thinking is different paints. I am going to be doing more water mixable and or water soluble painting videos because I have had people ask about those, and I am going to start painting with those again, even though I love my Griffin Alkyd oil paints, because there's some places that I have my shows, and even though I have a green studio, the people at the shows feel better if I'm using like water mixable paint for my oils. So even though, like I said, what I'm doing is actually green and non-toxic, no petroleum products, they feel better that way. So it's like, okay, fine. I'm not going to argue. 1, it doesn't get me anywhere. 2, you pick your fights. And 3, we're a bunch of artists and we go to shows to have fun and make a few bucks. I'm not going to raise a stink over something. In my younger days, yeah, I raised a stink about everything, which was stupid. As I get older, it's like, nah, it's not worth it. If they really believe that, then that's their business and they're entitled. Okay, now, you notice I'm doing what I always do. Blending the land into the water. Oh, and just an FYI, the next water mixables I use, because the ones that were my favorite, there's a lot of water mixables I use I don't like. Lucas Berlin, don't like. Artisan, don't like. Georgian, don't like. Cobra, really don't like. And that's a professional Cobra. They just don't like them. They don't fit for my style for whatever reason. And the ones I loved that did were Daniel Smith, water mixable oils. And damn it, they discontinued their oil line completely, including those, and they're doing just watercolor only. So I can find them still here and there at like Blick and Jerry's and a couple other places, Jackson's Art Supply in UK, but not enough to where I can do them for any length of time. 5 years from now, I'm not going to be able to have anything. So if that's the only one I know, it's kind of silly. So I'm going to try the Holbein, where I've done a ton of research, and the Holbein seems to be a really good water mixable oil paint. They got great reviews. I know Holbein normal paint, whether it's watercolor or their standard oils, have really good reviews and stuff. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to give those a try and then see how I like them. So I'm hoping I like them a lot, so I can use the water mixables on a regular basis. Okay, now you've seen me do this before. It's not just trying to waste time. Remember, I like my sky smooth and my water smooth. Everything else, thick, luscious, deep oil paint. So that's what I like. And I'm sticking to it. Okay. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of raw umber and white, and this white has a little bit of blue in it, a little bit of all kinds of stuff in it because I've been using it and I don't really clean my palette. Palette knife. And here I'm just doing stuff. And I hate to keep saying that to you guys, because I'm not precise, but I'm doing stuff, okay? I'm just doing what's appealing to my eye. There is nothing I have anywhere for photo reference for this. I have no clue if this place even exists. I'm just doing what I think looks good at this moment. And hopefully by the time the painting's over, it's like, oh wow, that worked. Sometimes it doesn't. Thank goodness, most of the time it does. Okay, now, I'm gonna take some purple. Doggone it, palette, stop moving on me. Take some purple with white. Make some shadows. I'm going to bring a little bit of that in because it was thick because I used the palette knife. I'm going to cover a lot of this up with foliage too, like I normally do. I want to get a shadow because where I don't cover, you're going to see. And I want to make sure that it works. Very light now. And the whole thing is, you're taking basically three-dimensional objects and putting them onto a two-dimensional surface to represent three-dimensional objects. So how do you do that? Light and dark, contrast, okay? Making it to where the highlights there, the shadows here. Now it gives it this nice little molding appeal to it. Now, by itself right there, that looks like shit. But it's not staying there. It's not staying there. I'm going to wash that brush because I don't know that I'm going to use it again. And if I put it aside, I may forget it's there and have it gunked up. So, now what I'm going to do, I go Viridian mainly. No, I'm sorry, Payne's Gray mainly. A little bit of Viridian. And now I'm going to put in my thick stuff. Now, I told you I liked the background the way it looked. So I'm not going to cover it completely. I do need one right there though. I think one more. There we go. Again, this is purely my own feel. Okay? I wanted to keep a lot of that open because I really like the way it looked. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm not going to have this covered up completely. And I'm not going to have it as thick as that because I want this to be a little bit more like at a distance. This I'm going to have yellow on it to get my green to highlight it. This I'm not. You can tell this one I'm tapping really light. And the reason I'm doing the really light is so I don't have this thick paint. Okay, I know I told you I love thick paint, and I do. But it's got to be in the proper place at the proper moment. And where it's at this point in time isn't. Okay. There we go. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. Damn, that one came out good. You know, it's funny too because you're going to go through this. It doesn't matter how long you paint. Like this painting when I first started, I had no idea in my mind what I'm doing. No preconceived notion. I just kind of threw it on there. And then as I go, then I start to form this little, I don't know, story or whatever in my head. And that's what I kind of follow then. So I preliminary just put stuff down. Okay, just it, just stuff. And then as I develop it, then I kind of have this little story in my head of where it is, what I'm doing, whatever the case may be. It sounds cheesy, but that's what I do a lot of times with my paintings. Okay, so when you actually paint it to where it's very similar to what's in your head, then you go, damn, that worked. Right now, I'm going, damn, that worked. That's pretty close to what I wanted. Okay, so next thing I want to do, take my palette knife, take a little narrower one. Excuse me. Actually, I'm going to go with the brush first and just lay the paint down. As much as I love thick paint, I don't want to go crazy today. And for some reason, I'm in a little bit more subtle mood than normal. Maybe it's Christmas. Christmas is mellowing me out. I always loved Christmas when I was a kid, and I'm going to be 59 years old in February, and I still love Christmas. I don't even have any kids, and I just love it. My wife and I are by ourselves, as far as, you know, no kids, and we still decorate the house as if we did. Just love the holiday. Love what it stands for. Love everything about it. And it always does mellow me out, even when I have a horseshit day at work, like everybody does. Come home to a nice Christmas tree and the nice decorations. And then all of a sudden, my day wasn't so bad. That's what Christmas does for me. Now, after January 1st and the holiday's over and I have a horseshit time at work, it's like, son of a bitch. Now what? Damn it, when am I retiring? You know, stuff like that. Like everybody else talks all the time. You talk shit to yourself. Okay, so laid it on. Now, obviously that looks stupid. You know, all that Cadmium Yellow Light Hue. Nothing looks like that. That's where the old blade comes in. So, it's very thick. And all I'm going to do, and you see me do this a bunch now, take the blade and just touch and lift. Touch and lift. The blade is going to blend it with the Viridian and Payne's gray underneath it. It's going to turn it into a relatively subtle, beautiful green, and that's what I'm going to have. A little bit of the Cadmium Yellow itself is going to be here and there, but the majority of it's going to be a nice green. And it's going to be a little bit of a contrast to that green. And you can just hear it. You can just hear it. And you just go over it until it gets blended the way you want. And I'm using this diamond shape because that gives it the look of a tree. See how that green is coming out now? Remember, we're doing wet and wet. We're not doing Bob Ross wet and wet, God rest his soul, but we are doing wet into wet. And we don't use magic white or any of that other stuff. But we are putting it all on together. And that is a bit of a challenge, but it's a lot of fun because you get your results pretty quick. Now, when I do studio work, and I've got special things in mind, and I maybe go with a sketch here and there, and, you know, it takes, you know, 4 to 6 hours for a piece. And I'm going to be a little bit more careful. The reason I don't do it here is because I don't want you guys to have to sit through a 4 to 6 hour video. And I want to show you that you can do stuff relatively quick and still have it look good. And I also want to show you that it doesn't take forever to do a painting that looks nice. That's kind of my whole thing. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, except we're adding the paint, and we're going this way. This is for a grass. And if you noticed, we didn't put in the highlights of the water yet. You know why? Because we would have just messed them up. We would have just messed them up. Okay. I'm going to take my fan brush with Payne's Gray only. Just lift up. And then in a second, we'll go over that with our big brush to define the lines. And that I'm going to leave alone. This lake's going back into, I don't know, something almost a little eerie. Here's like, you know, nice and colorful. Over there is just, I don't know. I don't want to say ominous, but maybe, you know, slightly. There we go. Now we got more green on the brush that we're putting in. little bit more yellow in here. And now a touch more blue. Again, this is just purely my own taste. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now we take our big old palette knife that I do gotta clean with a Brillo pad. And we're going to put in some water lines. I know I'm in the way right now, and I apologize. I haven't figured out how to do a palette knife like that, reaching my arm all the way out and still getting it relatively straight. And it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. You can tell it's not. Okay. Wipe off the knife. I'm going to take my fan brush and I'll start here. I want that to be a lot more faint. There we go. Okay, that'll work. And I'll leave that thickness there. It's not crazy thick, because I told you I don't like crazy thick in my water. Those are water lines. Technically not the same thing. I know I'm kind of splitting hairs. But that's okay, it's my painting, I can do that. Okay, now I'm going to go with Viridian. No. I'm going to go Payne's Gray, French Ultramarine. We're going to have some flowers. There we go. Get a little bit more. A little taller. Okay, now, next thing I want to do, I want to run these up with a couple of longer things. I know it's the technical word, but I want longer things. I don't know if that is. See, those are longer things. There we go. Now, I'm going to take my cheap Hobby Lobby brush. And I'll put my Alizarin Crimson down. we go. And this is thick. There we go. Now I'm going to wipe it off, not clean it off. Go straight into Cadmium Yellow Light Hue. The hue. I'm going to touch on there very gently. Well, medium. And the whole thing is, I don't want it all to blend. I want some to blend. I want some of the Alizarin Crimson showing. I want some of the Cadmium Yellow Light showing. And I want that variety a little bit. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Now, I'm going to wipe the brush. I'm not going to clean it because I may need it for something else. And then I'm going to go with my big 2-inch. No, 1.5, my apologies. I don't have a 2-inch anymore. If I ever get back into doing 24 by 36s, I may go with a 2-inch. But anything under 24 by 36, I don't really see a need for it. And again, I'm going real thick here. I'm not covering everything up. I'm going to use the palette knife here sooner than later. Okay. A little bit of the alizarin, nice and thick. I'm going to go with some of my French ultramarine, nice and thick. We go with some Viridian, nice and thick. Get the idea? Okay. Wipe off the brush. Excuse me. Okay, now I'm going to take the same knife that I used when I put in a waterline, but instead I'm going to make my ground. Out in the middle of nowhere, you're not going to find a well manicured lawn using a Toro grass cutter. It's just going to be wild the way God and nature intended. And that is what the palette knife shows really well. My wife's not all that crazy about it. See, now I like that. And we're almost done with the painting, and I still have one paper towel left. Look out. I had it right this time. I am going to go with a little bit of this stuff up here. Just to make sure it's lively. A little bit more alizarin, right? I mean, not alizarin, Payne's gray right there. There we go. Almost. I want that line a little straighter. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, I think we've got a completed painting here. I hope everybody enjoyed it and want to give it a try on your own. And I hope you will come and visit me next Sunday. Wow, next Sunday will be Christmas over and right before New Year's Eve. So anyways, I hope everybody has a very, very safe and happy Christmas. And I'll see everybody next week.